Hey everyone, welcome back to another build order tutorial. Once again, it's going to be TvZ because I guess I like the matchup that much. This time it's going to be a pure macro build, the 3cc build that's been getting popular lately, especially on a map like New Gettysburg. It is a very easy build to execute, so if that's what you're looking for, then definitely choose this one. It's also going to be nice enough to use on every single map in almost every situation, so it's a good all-around build to learn for sure. As always, I'm providing the audio build order as well as provide the text on the screen. So things start off normal, 14 depot. As I said, this is a very easy build and lines up with a lot of other Terran openers you're going to see. It's basically the one racks expand. Barracks 16, followed by a gas geyser. Put you guys in gas. Get an orbital, get a reaper. A 20cc. Put your supply depot down. Drop your mule, continue at building SCVs. This is where it changes up. Get a Marine after that Reaper. Then, 23, get a factory. Reactor as the Marine finishes up. Be very careful with your Reaper. It's going to be your only scout for quite some time. At around 26 supply, get a 3rd CC. And try to hide it somewhere in the corner of your base. Get your natural orbital. Swap the factory with the barracks. Build 2 hellions and a tech lab on the barracks. Start stim at around 330, get a Marine, swap the factory off the reactor. Get your gas geyser, around 38. Then build 2 barracks, one going on the reactor you just swapped off of. Build another reactor on your factory. Your factory is basically being used for an add-on until much later. Around 4 minutes, you're going to get double engineering bay and make your 3rd CC into an orbital. Also key here, realize that you're going to need to start building supply depots again. You're covered by the 3rd CC for a while. Swap factory with your newly formed barracks. Get a reactor on your factory once again, and get a starport. Start your 1-1 and get 2 gases at your natural. Put the SCVs on gas. Swap your starport with your factory. And depending on how you want to play, that factory will either get a tech lab or a reactor. Tanks or widow mines. But first, you're going to want to start your medevacs. Take your 3rd command center's location. Start combat shields. Should probably scout before you push out like this with either the Reaper or the Hellions that are still alive. Get 2 more barracks. And around halfway done with 1-1, you will get an armory. At around 6 minutes, you're going to do the 2 medevac drop or push. And that's just about it for the build. Continue macroing, building SCVs, building Marines, getting additional tech labs and reactors, and saturate your 3rd base. Now let's go for the build discussion. The strengths of this build. It's easy to execute. I would actually put this on like difficulty scale 2 out of 10. Because assuming you actually have good macro to utilize this build correctly, basically. It's a great standard build, so if you're just looking for something you can use all the time, always, this is an okay one. And certainly very macro-oriented if that's how you want to learn. Hellions provide scouting plus Ling cleanup, so if they try and swamp you with Lings, you still have to be very careful. 2 Hellions can only do so much, but it should be enough of a safety precaution. Eventually, it gives you solid production. You know, the 3cc has to ramp up, but then you're going to have this big burst of production that might be able to overcome a Zerg who was unable to match that. It can give you a lead if the opponent misreads, so it's actually kind of an easy build to read, provided they get an Overlord into your base. But sometimes, you know, in lower leagues, or just, you know, they're not thinking right, they actually will misread this and maybe expect like a Hellbat push, and they won't be as greedy as they should be, or they won't punish you as they should. And you can get quite far ahead. And lastly, it can work on most maps, so basically, not Dazon Station. Weaknesses. No early game control. It just, you know, you have a Reaper and 2 Hellions, and that's really it. It doesn't deal well with roach pushes or cheeses. I mean, it even technically doesn't do well against like a Baneling Olin, you know, an old-fashioned one, as you really just do not have that many units, and you're playing pretty greedy but not getting any bunkers during the build. Medevac presence is delayed. It's, you know, it's a liability of the build. You're not going to have easy peasy scouting, or you're not going to have just easy control over the map for a long time, and even by the time you get the medevacs out, they're probably at a good queen count, they probably have a lot of creep, so you're gonna have to do a lot of cleanup. And lastly, I mentioned this, it is easily scouted. Seeing the factory go down like that, and then seeing only 2 Hellions is a very suspicious thing to see. There are trick builds that kind of take advantage of that, which I might go over in the future, but for now, just know that the 3cc build can be scouted and reacted to accordingly, either by being a Linny or by being greedy themselves. And you might not get these leads I was talking about in the strengths. Suggested maps. Basically, number 1 would be New Gettysburg. That's where you're going to see it most often with pros. Number 2 is Galactic Process, the easy 3-base maps. Although, keep in mind, Galactic Process has a lot of potential openings, so you just have to keep track of with the rocks being down or not to feel safe with this build. Everything else, Frost, Frozen Temple, whatever other maps I'm not remembering, those are all okay too. But basically, like, Dazon Station is what I would suggest. You could try and do it and take the gold base and the secure base and your natural, but it just, you know, since it's pretty weak against aggressive maneuvers, and that's what Dazzling Station's all about. I wouldn't advise it. Alright, tips and tricks. So, kind of already went over a lot of this, but just to go a little bit in depth, keep the Reaper alive, and keep it scouting as long as possible, because it's really going to be your only scout. There's no follow-up Wood Mine drop, there's no follow-up Banshee that's going to get you knowledge of how the game is going. You're going to be pretty in the dark unless your Reaper control is, you know, pretty baller. On New Gettysburg, again, the map that you might see it probably most commonly, the depot wall-off on the bridge is a fantastic maneuver. It gives you advanced notice of their attack, if they had roaches or banelings, something like that. And it also delays their attack, of course. They are forced to go to the north or have their AI bug out first. Hellions are your only defense early game. Use them with caution. You know, if you're going for like a mech build and you just keep on pumping Hellions all the time and they're only minerals, maybe it's not such a big deal that you throw them away to get a couple of drone kills. In this build, you do that and they immediately counterattack, you actually won't have anything but like a handful of Marines, and that's not going to be that great. You could probably repair the depot and whatnot, but just be careful with your Hellions. If you see an incoming cheese or all in, bunker up and swap production to Wood Mines if your factory is still on the reactor or left alone. And Marauders, especially if it's a roach push, just basically get units that are you know, a little bit better at defending than just the Hellions, which only can do so much unless it's a pure Ling Baneling build. If it's pure Ling Baneling, actually, continuing to build Hellions is not a bad idea. Most likely, you will have to abandon the natural, so just be prepared to pull your SCVs away when it's clear you can't hold the low ground. If you are really the type to be like, I can never hold against an alt lane, I always try and hold the natural and it never works, you could actually preempt it just by pulling the SCVs, letting them take their time killing supply depots and whatnot on the ground, low ground, and then just, you know, bunker up on the high ground. And hopefully they're not able to push any further than that. They might get a lead off of it, and that kind of sucks, but 3 CC, 3 mules, it can get you back in a game. Last, as always, you don't just have to watch me executing it poorly or mediocre. You can actually watch this being used by a pro in multiple types of games. Just check them out. They're pretty useful. And lastly, thank you all for watching. Please follow or subscribe. That's the word for YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave comments on what you thought was good about it or what you would like to be improved in the next build order. If you have suggestions for build orders you want to use, I already actually got one. But the more people that agree on a build order, the more likely I'll be able to push it ahead of schedule, basically. Then also leave that in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another build order.